good evening. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Here we are in High G's. I'm really quite excited tonight to introduce a very old friend of mine. Well, by very old, I don't mean he's very old. Well, I guess we're 50, aren't we? So, yeah, that's old. But by old, I meant I've known him for a number of years. Not seen him for a few. I first met this gentleman over 30 years ago now. To people that have known him even longer than myself, like my wife, for example. And as I was reminded by somebody else the other day, what I was introduced to this gentleman as was not what he was first known as. So people that have known him a little bit longer might know him as Bob. I didn't. I met him, and due to his height, I reckon, he was called Stretch. Tonight, this is for people that know him. This is one of life's good guys. A genuinely very engaging, just a wonderful human being. He's a real dude. That's what he is. Let me introduce to you on the JFDI podcast to Mr. James Stretch Bolan. Where is he?
Hello, Pinky. Hello, everybody. Thanks for doing my hair for lockdown.
I love it, mate. You didn't tell me you were going to do that.
What kind of my 80s look?
Mate, it's do you know what? It's reminding me of something, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Who is it? It's somebody in a band.
That's quite disturbing, actually. All right, I'll go natural. Oh, yeah, right. Hello, mate. How you doing?
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Yeah.
Welcome to the JFDI podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
hopefully I'm the first Cornishman. Yeah.
I should have said that. It is. It's another first this evening. You are.
You
are the first Cornishman. I'm pretty certain of it. Yes, you are indeed. Cornish through and through.
Cornish through and through. Cornish. Yeah. Grandfathers were tin miners. Yeah. Traveled the world. Some of them, like some of my relations, are all over the world.
Yeah. Were they?
Well, there's a saying. There's an old saying that, you know, where there's a mine or a hole in the ground, a Cornishman's been there. So. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. And then there's pasties, which everybody absolutely adores.
Well, this is the problem. This is why I've gained like a little bit of. I've got to have my daily or my weekly pasty.
They are nice. They are indeed. Right. So, we'll probably come on to a little bit more about where you're from.
Yes, okay.
In due course, I think. I think it's a foregone conclusion. But we've got tunes to discuss tonight.
Oh, tunes, yes, yeah, oh yeah.
These ones were ones that just I just got, as I do every week. I got them on, bouncing around as I'm getting ready, and just right from the start. Tune number one, I said to you before we come on.
That's it.
Boom. Chuck D, Flavor Flav, and the gang, Public Enemy, Don't Believe the Hype. Tune one. Get it.
Brilliant, yeah.
What's the story with this?
Well, there isn't really, because before I joined the Air Force, I was going through, and I was like, you know, Grandmaster Flash and Mally Mal, and I was living on a beach, well, on a campsite above a beach, and yeah, it was just on all the time, and we all got into that kind of style of music. I would say I was never as good as Ali Back, you know, like a break dancer or body popper, but that was the guys, you know, the Nike zip on, the jackets, isn't it? The Nike jackets.
Yeah, they like tracksuit tops.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah.
And so it was just all of that kind of music and just listening to it at that time.
Yes, yeah.
What were you doing?
Of course, and I think it like spoke to me, you know, that kind of music at the time. A little bit rebellious, but we were all kind of didn't really know what was going on, but yeah.
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 Yeah, I know what you mean. Like again, just before we come on, we're talking about that. It was there. There's something in that music, something of the time, just with a little bit of kind of attitude, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, rebelling against whatever we were in our minds to rebel against at the time, wasn't it? The
Yeah.
system or whatever. Yeah. So it's
What in particular were you rebelling against at the time?
me. Because I was a little bit older before I joined the Air Force, right? So
Yeah,
I went to sixth form college and done some A levels, and we were. I was just a. You wouldn't believe it now, but I was a complete and utter surf bum.
yeah,
And I was living, on Land's End. There's a place called Sennen Cove, and just over to it is a place called Gwenver, which is only the locals back 30 years ago used to go. And we were living in a campsite above that, and it was
yeah,
just partying and just rebelling against anything really, the system. Like we were just,
yeah,
people said, "Oh, try to get, you've got to get a job. You've done college, you've got to get a job." And we were like priding ourselves. We had T-shirts. We have DHS surf team. We were on the dole, drawing the dole money, and just going surfing and just
yeah.
living like animals, really.
Were you doing any work, like anything on the side? Were you doing anything to kind of pick up a bit of money here and there? No, nothing.
I just left college and went onto the dole because I was in that kind of surf,
Yeah,
this era of this. I think everything's like a club, isn't it? And it was a lot of guys were like going around and just surfing around, bumming around.
yeah. So how long did that sort of phase of your life last doing that?
Probably about 4 or 5 months, and then I thought,
Yeah.
there was like a shoe factory called Finn's Shoes. They done like all the things for Clarks and everything in Penzance, and they opened up, and I went there to be just helping making shoes.
Okay.
Just before I joined the RAF. I think I had to like be kind of sensible before I joined up. Looked like I could do a job.
Looked like you could do a
Yeah,
job, and you chose making shoes.
yeah. So that was the only thing going at the time in Penzance, because there's nothing in Penzance. As probably the lads
Right.
that come down to this,
Yeah,
you can either work in like tourist industry and then that's like pure seasonal.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah. So
how did it all come about then? How did you go from being like surf bum on the dole to like deciding or choosing or you know
I just, I think,
arriving at CIO to join the
yeah.
what CIO was it as well?
I went to Truro.
Truro.
I like
Right.
Truro CIO, and
Yeah.
like it's because I'm in Penzance. It's a good 45-minute journey to Truro. So I can remember I started working in Finn's factory, and I thought, this is not the way I want to be. Just working on I like this, like making shoes. But so I was in, and at the time, a few of my mates had joined up the Navy.
Right.
So I thought, oh yeah, and they were coming back with all the stories, drinking and women, and sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah. So anyway, I went shopping with my mum up at Truro. We got the train up, and I was just walking around, and it was like on Lemon Street, the CIO was the place.
Yeah.
And it started like I was thinking about it, and it's by the cinema, and I thought, oh no, I'm going to go watch the film in the cinema. It's let my mum go shopping, and it started actually lashing it down with rain.
Right.
And I was like, and I just went into the door, and you had to go up some stairs to get to it. And like I went in, and I just thought, yeah, I fancy some of this,
Yeah.
which was really that kind of brief encounter. Is it almost like that film? It's almost like that film Sliding Doors, isn't it? Where 1 minute you got that chance, go left or right,
Mm.
and I went up the stairs, and it looked amazing. As they do, they did know what to do to get you in.
What do you think? Where do you think you would be if you'd have taken the other door?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I've spoken to a few people about this. It's a really, it's an interesting question, but at the end of the day, you didn't. You took the other one, and this is where you are. Yeah.
So I can remember them going in. I'd done that aptitude test.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, how we done it? Done the aptitude test, and I think I got offered RAF Police, Aerial Erector, or ASOP. And I thought, out of them all, I thought RAF Police, maybe not me, you know, maybe that's not my cup of tea completely. But
Yeah.
when I was there, you got to remember I had a hair and it was all like, I had that sun in it. It was all blonde, you know, but I was tanned up completely.
Yeah.
But this guy was thinking, sorry, he probably thought, he's probably not all there, these dudes. So he'll probably go be all right for an ASOP.
Yeah. and that was that. The process started.
That was it. That was it. It started, yeah. And then I
Brilliant.
joined. I went up to. I had to go all the way to Plymouth, which is like 2 hours away from me, to like
Yeah.
swear allegiance to the Queen on the 3rd of July. Came home, said goodbye to like my girlfriend at the time, and then got on the train the next day to Swinderby. 4th of July,
like
89, like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Got to Swinderby,
Yeah.
and like probably like 60-70% of my course were all Scottish. So, which is all right because my dad is Scottish. He's an Edinburgh bloke. So I was there, and I was like, well, I still think now, looking back, all the people that look at the kind of intake photo, it was obviously like Scottish guys.
Yeah.
You know, white guy. He's white. He's even paler white. He's translucent Scottish. He's ginger. Yeah, it's translucent. He's blue. Who's that like Pakistani Indian guy up the ends? And that's what probably me, yeah. It's like because I had like the tan, you know, like, obviously I had shaving all my hair off, but
yeah.
I was in with that Hawaiian tropic, you know, coconut oil all over me on the beach and everything. So yeah,
I love it. I love it. And so that was it. That was the transition from beach bum Dolly to
yeah. And
serviceman.
it's really weird. Yeah, it was just really weird that something on that day clicked in my head.
Yeah.
That I take that door and go up.
Well, very cool. I like it. I'm gonna. We've got a great little segue into your second song, like a nice wee transition, right? Because you mentioned that they offered you 3 trades.
Yeah.
You know what's coming, don't you?
Me and George Walker could have been like that, mate. We could have, me and George.
I can't see George Walker being like that with anybody. Although, you know, we did get to know him quite well. So yeah, you mentioned Aerial Erector, Scopy, or Police, and you did mention that Police was most certainly not going to be your way.
No, not
your second. Well, it's not actually your second song. It's a song chosen by you for somebody. But it is NWA's "Fuck the Police," right?
Fuck the Police, yeah.
And who's it for?
For Pat Penn, obviously, when he was getting investigated by PNSS, and they were like, they'd interviewed him for hours at end, and then they come in to search his room, and it was just down for me. And we all had the album. The whole block had the album at NFL. So I just cranked it up full speed, full volume, and that was it. Yeah. So that was my little rebellious kind of going back to public enemy, isn't it? Yeah.
I think he'll appreciate that. I think he'll appreciate it. It also happened. See, I won't get. I can tell this. The exact same happened at a party in Buckiness Drive.
Yeah.
Where Mark Pattinson, Ross Conlon Doyle, and Gordon used to live.
Oh yes, yeah.
And there was a couple of parties down there, and on one occasion when the police came down to turn the music, or when they came down to ask for the music to be turned down and for people to quieten down, I do believe Mr. Pattinson did exactly the same. Cranked the stereo up extremely loud.
They must have heard that everywhere, the police at that era. They probably heard it again over the last couple of years, haven't they? It's probably been like re in, isn't it? It must have heard it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it was a certain time, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was indeed. So what's your what's your kind of first memories of Bucking?
Yeah, I arrived at Bucking with your good lady wife, Julie Gunn, at the time. Aussie, Oz. You know.
We skipped your trade training, didn't we?
Yes. Oh yeah. That's like the corporal that's in charge of it. It was the husband and wife. Oh, what are they
Julie
called again?
And Steve Dunn.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was my trade, and I think Julie Dunn gave me the name of Pob.
There you go.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I didn't get. I think it was like that puppet at the time, wasn't it? It was like that pod puppet. I didn't really like understand it because I don't know what you're talking about.
Was it on telly?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, like it was like a little puppet with obviously baldy head, but I'd have that crew cut from Swinderby. Don't know what happened to him. He was a good lad. I remember watching him a few times swimming. He was a good swimmer. Yeah, but it was just, it was trade train was all right, wasn't it? Really, I didn't mind it too much.
No scrapes there.
Not that I can remember. No, not that I can remember. Maybe people know. Yeah.
And then it was up to bucking.
Oh yeah. God. Yeah.
Here you go. On you go all the way to the northeast of Scotland, Mr. Cornwall.
Cornish. Well, I tell you who's got to blame for that was what's his name? Alfie, because he was on the course a couple of courses ahead of me, and he told me that if you want to be anything in this game, Buchan's where it's at.
Did he tell you that?
Yeah, and I was like, when I was young, I was like, oh, is it naive? Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, I'll listen to that. Yeah. So I applied for Buchan, and of course, we all went up, didn't we? Yeah.
Crikey. Yeah. So what were the kind of first sort of memories of up there?
Yeah, it was all right because we were in the NFL. I think that was one of the best. And I think because we were quite naive, we didn't really know what it was all about, really, was it? And it was just, I can remember looking out and seeing that power station and thought, shit, what the hell are we doing here? That's the view of that power station. But
so how long did you stay there for?
Well, I was there only at Buchan for 18 months because I got a charge. Well, I think everybody as a scoper, you need to get charged for out of bounds in the WAF block. Yeah. And I got caught with Nigel Bonswell, so we were busted straight away, weren't we?
Was that were you caught with Nigel Bonswell in a 4-man room in the WRAF block?
Yes. Yeah.
And at the same time that you were in that WRAF block, were there 2 other guys on the other side of the door trying to squirt fire extinguishers through the door?
Yeah, allegedly, yes. I think there was. but that's just
all right. It's okay. I did time for it.
Yeah.
So was that it? You got that with that charge? What happened from then?
Yeah, I got like 50, obviously that 50 quid, 7 days Jankos, whatever it was. And then before I knew it, I don't think I was even trained up on ICA. And then I was like posted to Saxa.
Oh, really? Just like that?
Just like, yeah. We all, and like the problem with Saxa was it was like when I got up there, it was only like all the lads. And you just thought it was how crazy I was or how stupid I was on alcohol. They would like doubled it, with like Skip Hogan, Paul Lacey, all them guys. It was like Chili, Paul Chilwell. It was crazy up there. Nick Knack, Dave Curtis. It was crazy times up there.
And it's the next song is a Saxa song, right?
Oh yeah, right, yeah. Are you going to say it?
Everybody's Free, Rosala.
Yeah, Rosala. Right, okay. So the story behind this is a radar I'd blown off the hill on New Year's Eve. I was on guard. Radar blew off the hill, and we were all sent down to Sombra to work.
Yeah.
And we did initially stay at the Sombra Hotel, which is right next to the Sombra Airport. But they put us in, I can't remember what the hotel was called, but it had a nightclub underneath called Posers Nightclub.
Yeah.
So we were in there, and, you were in there chatting away, drinking. And I looked down and there's a little bit of scuffle on the dance floor. And it was like some of the locals had took offence to whatever Scouse, McCann and John Noxie were doing. The Lerwick Hotel, Scouse has just said, yeah, it's whatever they were doing. So there was like a bit of a little massive brawl. And all of a sudden I could just remember Scouse on the back of this bouncer pulling him around like he was like rodeo riding him. It was just like he was like a shell, like just like fighting away. And then Noxie was fighting away. And then we all went in and to help them and join them. But it's a few people like on the floor and everything. And so long story short, after the massive scuffle and everyone had calmed down, RAF against the locals or whoever was on it, Stuart Scouse McCann and John Knox got arrested by the local police, Lerwick police.
Oh no!
So
they got lifted.
They got lifted by the police. So I went up, and I cannot remember his name now, upstairs into the hotel and got our flight lieutenant.
Yeah,
that was in charge. Can't remember his name. Nice bloke, really cool, blonde hair. And he said, "Can you come with me to the police station and we'll go and speak to them and see what goes on?"
Yeah.
So by then I had a couple of beers down me, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah." But I wasn't like, I looked sober, but I was like on it, like when you're like, so he was sober, so he drove up to the police station, and I walked in the door like Billy Bollocks and said, "Sergeant," on the desk, where are my boys? My boys have been arrested. I want them released now. They've got to protect the UK ADR first thing in the morning. And then the next thing you know, the flight lieutenant looked at me like, "Shit, what are you saying, Stretch?" I said, "These are my men. I need them out now. That we've got to protect, like there could be a Russian attack. These guys." Next thing you know, Scouse and Noxie were getting released.
Did he ask who you were?
No, I just said, "Yeah, I'm James Bolan. I'm James Bolan, RAF. These are my men. Get them home. Get them out." And then that was it. I don't know if I just went in with that aura of they probably thought, "Who the hell are these guys?" Isn't it?
Yeah.
But that flight lieutenant just looked at me, and I just looked back at him, and he just went, "Well, it seems to be working." And then we were banned from this nightclub, that hotel, but we were all living upstairs, so we all went down the back way, and we all went up to our rooms. And like the next morning, they come down, and we were all there, like they were like, "Oh my god, weren't you guys banned last night?" But brilliant. But yeah, that was it. So, but on that massive fight, Rosella was playing. I can just remember it now. Like, Scouse holding on to the back of this bouncer, and the bouncer was like, "Oh," like that, and he was holding on. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, he's having a little giggle.
Some of those stupid things we did, isn't it?
Oh dear.
I think John Knox is in Australia now, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, crikey. I remember, do you know, random fact, right? Just take 2 bits of that story that you told me. I saw Rosala live at the Mall in Stockton with Guy Alf Elliott.
That's it. Yeah. Mental, isn't it?
I actually saw her singing live. I'd gone down to his one weekend, and and he took me to the Mall in Stockton, and randomly Rosala was singing on the stage.
Brilliant.
There you go.
That's one of the songs. It's so hard to pick songs that define your life, because I like everything. Like everything is hard to, but that one stuck in my head. Rosella, Everybody's Free. Just that massive scuffle in Lerwick.
What other songs from around that era? Again, like sort of similarly, maybe not with the the resonance with the
it's like the Mondays and the Charlatans were around. Oh. Yeah, Happy Mondays and all that. Yeah.
Do you remember the trio that they used to always play in the Granada?
Oh.
They would play The Only One I Know, and then they would play The Farm, Groovy Train.
That's right.
They would play Soup Dragons, I'm Free.
Oh yeah, Soup Dragons. Yeah.
They would always play them back to back, not necessarily in that order, but they would always play them one after the other. Those 3 songs, always.
Yeah.
There you go. So Saxa was a bit of a wild time for you.
Oh, got to be out of all my RF postings, I've got to say that's probably the best posting I had.
Was it? Because that was it to us. Yeah,
that was everyone got together. We were in like a shithole. I was probably the furthest away from home, because I only live like 6 miles away from Land's End. Yeah. So I was probably the furthest away from home without being abroad, if that makes sense. So I was right up the top. It stood in the UK, let's follow this, and it was brilliant. It was like guys together, drinking, working hard, drinking. got a couple of charges, not myself, but a few other lads, got a few charges. And then even when the girls come up, especially with Yvette Winterbourne, and we all thought we could drink. And then Yvette come up and she made us look like amateurs. No, sorry, Yvette, no.
Oh, some girl Yvette. Did you watch it on here?
Yes, yeah, that's why I said it. Yeah, that's why I said it. Yeah,
she was absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
Andrea Davis, or I can't remember if Thomas was up. Yeah, we had some like good girls up, and they like molded in quite well, and it was still like that good kind of atmosphere.
Yeah,
and you were like, almost, sorry.
And these guys that you met up here, though, there's this group, isn't there, that you've remained not only friends but close contact, and like regular meetups, like since then. It hasn't let up through like what, 30 years?
No, yeah, we still like Paul Lacey, Skip Hogan, Pat Penn. Yeah, sometimes he's all right. He's all right sometimes, isn't he? I know he's not listening tonight, so I can say that. Yeah, Stu McCann.
Anyone else?
Stu McCann's there, isn't it? Yeah.
you better say him.
What did I say? Yeah, Paul Lacey, Stu McCann, Pat Penn, Skippy, myself. Yeah. We've gone to Mallorca together and just doing some crazy things together.
Yeah.
But not bad, because we're older now. We're more refined and more sensible.
What would if I asked the rest of the gentlemen, if I asked them the daftest thing that you'd done during any trip away, what would they tell me?
Oh, is that Pat Penn's exfoliating glove?
I don't know, mate. Carry
on.
No,
I don't know that. No. That's false news. What I just said there was false news.
Please go rewind, mate. Go on.
Is it like the inflatable sheet that we had for floats in the swimming pool, or? No,
I don't know. I don't know. Mate, you said it. It must be true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have anything up my sleeve here. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, what it was. Well, anyway, Pat Penn is like he loves, like, what do they call it? He had a glove and he was exfoliating every day. Doing his little shaving and all that. So I kept seeing it in the bathroom. We were in this massive villa, and I kept seeing it in the bathroom. So I walked in and I put it over like the old Willie and all, like put it in and said, "Pat, look at this." That's all I was wearing as I walked in. And he didn't know what to do, because the next couple of days he didn't know what to do because he was afraid to touch it because it had been on my So his skincare regime went out the window then after that.
Mate, I tell you what, I don't know. I mean, you seen him recently. His skin's great. It's maybe done something for him.
Because he was just like scraping it off all the time. Yeah.
Vitamin E, mate. That's what it is. It's rich in vitamin E,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, should we move on?
No, yeah, move on. Yeah. I don't even say I don't even say Pat's got big hands. Well, he got big fingers. Yeah, no, maybe not. Move on.
Yeah, Pat quite often goes on about having something else big, doesn't he? Right, next song. Next song. Muscles is what I'm talking about. He always talks about having.
Yeah, he's out in the gym. He's out in the gym now.
Yeah. Anyway, next song is and we were playing some dance anthems earlier on before we came on. So the next song is "The Bomb" by Bucketheads.
Yes.
What does this remind you of?
Well, actually, because when I left Saxa, I got posted to High Wycombe, and the EAS cell down there.
Oh yeah, Karen worked in there.
Yeah, I actually hated it because obviously I came from like all this great thing at Saxa where you were helping the controllers, and also you were like in this place with these printers, and just like a registry really. It was just like doing a TCO's job.
Yeah.
So I was there with Odd Smith, and I was sharing a room with him, and it was top lad, loved it, but I just hated the job there. And I felt after Saxon, where everybody knew each other, High Wycombe was it was a kind of impersonal place.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because you just, as soon as you went in, you all went into the place, and you all went to your own different, well, cells it was called, wasn't it, or little areas, and you barely seen anybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
yeah, it was lots of different little pockets. Yeah, lots of different little pockets of
After Saxon, which was like a great experience of like being together, camaraderie, and everything like that. It was I found it quite impersonal. I didn't really like it there, and we were doing a job with these 6 printers going did it all the time. Just
Yeah. Do you know what I think that's why the Corporals Club at Wycombe was so wild?
Yeah.
Because people needed just that little bit more of to let go, let off steam.
Yeah.
And crikey, did you see any steam let off in the Corporals Club?
Yeah, I got banned a couple of times for being in there just because I was SAC still, isn't it? So yeah, they did bust me a few times for being too drunk and rowdy, but yeah, it's one of the things that happened. Yeah. So anyway, so then obviously then, because I didn't like High Wycombe so much, I kept moaning on to get out. So posted me to bloody Neatershead, and it was like I was like a 7.5, 8 year SAC still at the time. Back into Neatershead, back in with all the mentality of all the young guys, and the young, not the young guys, but like the Air Force's thing at the time, because I'd been there, done it. Like the LACs were like 1 year. I wasn't trained on UCAD. I didn't have a clue on it, so I was just getting stuck in the I was just thrown in the canteen all the time, and or I was doing what's it when you do the aircraft weather every hour. I can't remember what it was. That was like all I was trained on until I got my course. So it was just like soul destroying, in the canteen where you had to make cups of tea, like do it all.
Yeah.
So I was stuck there. And of course I knew Pat Penn, and then that put like a right black mark on me completely.
What, just knowing them?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I met some top guys there. Obviously, I met my wife there. But it was just so. Before I met Hazel, we used to go every week to London to the Velvet Underground. We used to meet up with like Dids, Scouts and all that. We used to go to the Velvet Underground.
Yeah.
And so this is where that song come in, the Bucketheads. And because we were there quite a bit, there always used to be on Tottenham Court Road, there always used to be a massive queue going in.
Yeah.
And because I can remember there we were going in and we would like know the bouncers. There's one bouncer, I think he was called Miles. So we were just walking past and Miles said, "Oh, stretch, come in." And we were like, Scouts and Dids, we were like treated like the VIPs, like when they just like let you jump the queue.
Yeah.
And we just went, "Oh, cheers, Miles," and went straight down into the club. And then I think I read afterwards, it was like, what's that? Kate Moss was in the queue, and she wasn't allowed. She wasn't allowed in, and me Scouts, like Pat and Dids, were in there.
Straight in.
Yeah. We were like, yeah. But definitely that one, the Bucketheads. And then we got into getting all the DJs and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you spend a fair bit of time down there? Did you?
Yeah, we used to go most weekends, and we met like quite a few like top guys, like the work in the city, and like the more people you get to know, and we knew the guy from the editor of News of the World, and all it was all that kind of people that were in that club at the time. It was, and we were like scumbag RAF SACs, isn't it?
Crikey.
Yeah. So
what sort of was there any night in particular that kind of stands out? Was there one that stands out above the rest? Was there any kind of moment
from the London days?
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't think of anything. No.
They were all that good then.
Good.
Right?
They're all good. Yeah. Oh, I don't want to get myself in. Yeah. Yeah.
The halcyon days.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Crikey.
Yeah. Some lovely girls in there as well. There's a little bit. Yeah. But
So
yeah,
that was whilst you were at Neatishead.
Neatishead, yeah.
Right. When did you when did you play basketball?
That was with Andy O'Hare and all up at Buchan.
Was
They used
that
to
right
fly
at
us-
the
they used to fly us
start?
down- Yeah, fly us down to Restraton and everything to go and play.
Yeah.
So I think we won the RAF Cup. We've got a couple of medals still for it. So we were pretty good at the time.
Yeah.
I think it was Gabsy, Rob Gabbs, Andy O'Hare,
Yeah.
me. I think there's another guy called Ken something. I think he was a corporal at the time. Had a big moustache. Hamish,
Right.
was he a sergeant? Sergeant Hamish.
Oh,
Big.
Hamish Sutherland.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. Yeah.
Yeah. Crikey. And that was so what happened with the basketball then? You didn't carry it on after Buchan? Ken Callahan.
No.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, that's it. Ken Callahan. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't really carry it on. I don't know how that went, or maybe I wasn't good enough anymore, or
The booze took over, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, or maybe I was too far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So I never got,
short-lived.
yeah, so I never really got back into it after that. But I still played it, but I never got into like the RAF team after that.
Yeah. So I've got to ask you this question because I don't even know where it fit in. But on Monday when we put out the notification that we were doing this tonight,
Yeah.
Frankie Blunden asked a question which I need to ask you about your memories of Iceland and HMS York.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah! I'm so glad I didn't join the Navy. I can't even remember where we were on sea trial. Went on the HMS York for sea trials. I don't know if we left from Rosyth. Well, what's the other one? There's two, isn't there? The two in Scotland. One on the west coast, one on the east coast. Fastlane and Rosyth. Yeah.
Fastlane. Yeah.
I can't even remember which one we went from. We went from one around on a sea trial all the way to Iceland. And it was like, I went into the ops room every day and then looking down and you could see like the laser pointer was just like moved about half an inch. And like Iceland was right up here. Was, oh my God.
How long did it take you to get there?
Oh, it felt like about 4 weeks, but I think it was only about 4 days, you know, but it was just, and I was like, probably Frankie will probably remember, we were right up the top, you know, like this like third bunk bed up. It was horrendous. Yeah. And then we all got kidnapped by different sections of the Navy and told to like drink alcohol and, you know, they were like,
oh yeah,
it was a nightmare. It was the Stokers would kidnap us, one of us at a time, and then put like a big pyramid of like McEwen's export in it or whatever, like Red Death or whatever they called it, and said just drink that, and they wouldn't let you go until you drunk it. So that was hard times. But
oh, yeah, tough times. So what happened when you got to Iceland?
Got off to Iceland, and it was really we went and look around Reykjavik. That's really good, but then at the time it was horrendous, like typical Scandinavian kind of country, horrendous like prices for everything. So we ended up going to the Keflavik, the US Air Base.
Yeah,
and I can remember them like meeting us. Took us into like their kind of mess, and they had like, I don't know if it was a pig or a buffalo. I can't quite remember now, but it was a huge piece of meat, like just like barbecuing on this thing. And we were like, Jesus, we've never seen this in the Air Force. So they were like, yeah, eat, and there's some drinks, and then it was just like that piss Budweiser. So I would go. Yeah. So we were going to the bar, and like they were doing it in like handles of 6. You could get little 6, you know, like the 33 milliliter things.
Yeah.
So I was going to the bar and getting 2 of them, like 12, and coming back. You know, most of the rest of the guys were just because you know what Budweiser is. I can remember going bowling. We went on the bowling grounds on the bowling, but yeah. And I think some of the Matlows robbed the American police Jeep and just just crashed it, you know, in Iceland.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but that's all I can remember. Oh, and we all went swimming in the Blue Lagoon with Ski and Frankie, a few other guys. Nice. Yeah, that was right. That was nice. But
it was a good tour.
But when we were coming back, there must have been one of the biggest storms ever to hit the North Sea, and that you know the ship was like going up and down, and like all the Matlows were sleeping. You know that you had to like pin yourself in. So I was never like glad to get back on wherever we were. I don't know if it was Fastlane or Rosyth. I can't even remember. But whatever the one we went from, we went back to the other. Yeah. But,
There you go. So you do kind of remember
I
it.
remember it. But I could just remember going to the ops room with all that stuff on in that thing, and just like being so hungover from the night before that I meant to be doing like Jorsk or something. I just like fell asleep, like kind of like that. And of course, all the Navy lads thought it was like brilliant, They were like laughing,
just laughing.
Yeah, just like walking around. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, we jumped a bit there, but we'll go back because I think you've got another song from around that sort of.
Prodigy,
Firestarter, yeah.
Oh, I just like it was like another class group at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it reminds me of what my daughter was born. She's 25, 25 years ago. So she was born, and that was it. When she was crying, I used to put that on, and she used to like calm her down. Maybe I looked a bit like Keith, like it's a fire starter, twisted fire. Maybe I don't know. Maybe if I had my hair, my little horns.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So does that kind of remind you of that sort of time as well?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know if she's listening. A big thank you, Vicky Franklin, for looking after me at that time. Getting me. Yeah, I don't know. I always forget to say when I see her, but thanks a lot, Vicky.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. I've said thank you to her a number of times as well.
Yeah. Just because at the time she knew us from Buchan, and at the time, circumstances were going on, and I think she was experiencing the same circumstances. But because she was a sergeant, the kind of old school RAF wasn't so bad on her. But because I was an SAC, and like my wife was pregnant, they didn't seem to like it as much. The old dinosaur mentality.
Mm.
So she really looked out for me and obviously my wife Baz. Yeah. At the time, and I always forget to say like, thanks a lot for that, Vicky.
Yeah. Well, whilst you're giving shout outs, should we take a little look at who's in the house tonight? We've obviously had a message there from Mr. McCann. Well, I'm going to go. We'll work our way back. So we've got Mo is in the house.
Oh, hello, Mo.
As is Ken Callahan. There you are.
That's it. Yes, Ken Callahan. That's the guy. Yeah. Nice guy. Good guy.
And there you go. That's your news of the world.
Yes, Mohan. Yeah.
Mohan.
We're like that.
Indeed.
It's surprised they didn't give us we did. Oh no, Skip, no photos. Don't show the photos.
And a message from Stephen.
Yes, Scooter, yeah. Oh mate, how you doing? I've seen you for a while. Yeah, Scooter, yeah.
Look, here we are. Whatever happened to Guy? They were talking.
Yeah,
here we go. Here we are. He asked a question earlier on. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Come on. I think he's going to catch up as Frankie.
He's still in. Is he still in, Frankie? Must be.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well done, Frankie. Well done.
And then there we go. We've got.
Yeah, it's true though, wasn't it? I don't think you really were a scopy unless you were charged by the time you were SAC. I think it was the kind of right. It was a rite of passage, like it.
It was.
Yeah, like Melk says. Yeah.
And there
he is. Mr. Back. God bless him, mate. We got him representing him today again.
Yeah, aren't we? I've got it. Yeah, well, we're on double loft 55 duty tonight.
Yeah.
So before we kind of move on, because I am going to ask next question around sort of when your Air Force career kind of came to an end. But is there anyone else that you wanna for like those periods that time? Is there anybody else that you wanna give a shout out whilst we're kind of whilst we're in the shout out?
It was just like there was a lot of good lads at Neatishead, don't get me wrong, but it was just at that time my head wasn't right. You know, I was coming toward the end of my time. A certain flight sergeant didn't really like me. So I think because his influences, some of the corporals didn't really like me. I wasn't UCADS trained, you know. But then I'd come from like High Wycombe, and I'd worked in the GESM a little bit, you know, just loading in the weathers and everything. But
yeah,
I think most of the people there, I always try to get on with people.
Yeah,
That's the thing. I think that's the thing. I always try to get on, and even now, like, you know, my son and daughter say I'm embarrassing because I'll just go and chat shit with people just randomly, and I said, well, that's how you make friends, and there's too many barriers in life, and I said you've got to go up and just speak to people.
Yeah.
She says to me, yeah, but people think you're like a psychopath or an idiot. But I said, well, after they get to know me, they'll be all right, won't they?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
So what was the story we're leaving then?
Right, it's coming to the end of my time.
Yeah.
9 years, and I was like needs, and I thought, oh, I can't see this. I just had a baby. My daughter was 1 year old. My wife was still in because she was like telecommunications. Apparently, I don't know what they do, but just like rip signals off and hustle you, really, don't they? But so I didn't know what to do. So I went, because we was at Neatshead, I went over to Great Yarmouth, and I went to this place called Rowan Drilling. And basically, it's that kind of. I walked in, and there was like a Tex in there. Looked a bit like me now, baldy, just big, you know, a typical bloody big dude.
Yeah.
Chewing tobacco like that, you know. And I said, look, I'm working in the Air Force at the minute, just over the roads, you know, just down in Norwich there, Neatshead. Coming to the end of my time.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure what to do. And I'm like wondering if you've got any jobs or vacancies for me. Yeah. And it was almost like that, like sliding, like right place at the right time. He just says, hey, boy, if you want a fucking job, I'll give you a fucking job. When can you start? Can't do the accent, but, you know, like that's what he was like. When can you start? I said, whoa, bloody hell. I haven't even like left the RAF yet. And he says, right, that's it. You have my word that when you leave the RAF, you will get a job with me. Oh, he's gone now. Lost him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Right. Okay. So he held you to that then?
Yeah. So I went to see the resettlement guy.
Yeah.
And I happened to be the squadron leader from High Wycombe, the duty controller, that I'd spent many a days with, just absolutely talking complete utter rubbish to him. He was the resettlement guy. So he put me on the resettlement course to do at New Tech in Norwich, to do the offshore course. Right. And then I came out of the Air Force, phoned up this guy, Scott Haggard Jr. the third or whatever is, and that was it. Next thing you know, I was on a helicopter going offshore to a rig, a jack-up rig.
And that was it. How long did that take to happen then?
From probably about just less than a month.
Less than a month.
Yeah. So I was like, right. It was, and he did really like, yeah. So he's a nice bloke. Really did look after me. But the kind of the thing they had on the rig at that time was, even if you wanted to be a radio operator, mechanic, electrician, you had to work outside and do the lowest paid job to get to know the rig. So like I was like most people, I started off as roustabout, which really means like circus performer.
Yeah.
And like you were doing all like the manual jobs, and I was like, shit, I left like sitting in front of a console for this. But it put me in good stead for when I finally went up a bit. Yeah.
Got you. Flipping heck. So that was it. So then you've gone, you've left.
Yeah.
What were the kind of sort of what challenges did you have when you left, or was it because everything happened so quick? It was I think it was more just finding your feet.
Yeah, and it was just, and also my wife got posted down to RAF St Morgan, so we moved down. So I was like back in the motherland, Cornwall, you know. So And when you work offshore, it doesn't matter where you live, as long as you make that helicopter on that certain date when your crew changes.
Yeah.
So I worked with Rowan for two years, and then like the oil price dropped and they laid me off, and then I managed to get a job with Transocean, and I like got the job as like a roughneck or a floorman, because the roughneck's a machine that actually torques the pipes. So I was working there, and then one of them said, "I heard you used to be in the RAF," and I was like, "Yeah. I used to be like that," Gave them the spiel like the Aesop, we were like really in control of, like that. They were like, "Do you fancy going to do the helicopter landing officer course?" So I was like, "Yeah, perfect. I can do that." Anyway, something happened, and I got laid off from that rig, and I ended up. Next thing I know, I ended up in Denmark working on an accommodation platform. 6 helicopters at first thing in the morning, and two at lunchtime, and then 6 again in the evening, or like one. And the pilots actually living on the rig with us. So that was a nice old time. That was good times, because we were just sitting around waiting for a helicopter, bacon butties, from the girls down in the galley, bacon butties sitting around, cups of tea. And they would, like, the radio op would say, "Stretch, the helicopters come in, make sure you got these guys on board."
Yeah.
So I used to have a helicopter on deck, a helicopter hovering, and a helicopter circling to pick up these Danish guys to go to different platforms. But if you've been a scopy and you're used to that kind of pressure of things, it sounds hard, but it wasn't that bad. Yeah, and then once
you kind of got into the routine of it fairly quick.
Yeah, to do it, and then that was it. And then you got rid of and then the helicopter would come back, and then you would like refuel it, make sure it's all right. If it was windy, you tie it down, and then it'd be ready to chat to the pilots, give them a bit of shit, a bit of banter, like they used to come, they used to, with their like goggle, they think they were like bloody Tom Cruise and everything. We said, "You're just really a taxi pilot, really, a taxi driver, really, aren't you?" Just to like, but it was good bit of banter, and so that was it. So I was just doing that. And when I was in Denmark, I learned to do the flight booking system.
Okay.
So I could, obviously it's similar to like when you go abroad, you like put it in your weights, and with helicopters, you've got to be so spot on with the weights of the people, 10K, every bag's got to be 10K, because there's so much like limitations with it, because some of the flights, most of the flights I've been on have been an hour and a half, 2 hours out into the sea. So you've got to be spot on. So I just got to know that, and it got me into it. And then that rig finished its contract, and then I got picked up by Maersk Norway and went to work for 12 years as a radio operator for Maersk Norway. And
how long were you there?
12 years in Norway with Maersk. Yeah. And the thing with Norway, I worked 2 weeks on and had 4 weeks off, so I've like semi-retired. So, and when you come off after 2 weeks on the rig, when you come off, every day's a Saturday. Every night's a Saturday. Every day's a Saturday. So we used to go on holidays, go out, drink it. It was just food. Takeaways, sitting out or going out eating, going abroad. So I always joke, like, I always think that if I stayed in the RAF, I would have went somewhere sandy. That would have been shit. But I was also somewhere sandy at a bar with a cocktail in my hand, thinking, like, so. Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it. Norwegians, lovely people.
And
trying to speak the lingo, but trying to speak the lingo.
Your last song is actually. I think you said your last song is about that time on the rigs as well, right?
Oh yeah. So
the Gambler, right?
Yeah, Kenny Rogers, the Gambler. Our flying time out to the rig was from Stavanger. I flew to Stavanger, stayed overnight in Stavanger, and got the helicopter the next day. And our flying time was any time between 1 hour 30, 1 hour 40, depends on the winds, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So obviously on a helicopter, it's so noisy, you can't speak to anybody. But Norsk helicopter had this tape that they played through your headsets. And it was a lot of Norwegian, blah, blah, got all the Norwegian songs. I didn't even understand half of it. Kenny Rogers came on, the gambler.
Yeah.
So like you were just like, oh, but the loop was only like 40 minutes. So like in a trip home, you could hear that twice before you landed.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my going home. And they had the same track for 12 years. All the same music for 12 years. So like every time you got in, you're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Norwegians and the Scandinavians do like the American kind of big cars, the big cars, and they do a lot of line dancing, and they do like that kind of country and western thing. But when I got on the helicopter, sat down, strapped myself in, put my headphones on, and heard Kenny Rogers, the gambler. And it was almost a gamble as well, because sometimes when on the heli decks, the wind was lashing, the helicopter would come up and it would look for like transitional air, so it wouldn't know what to do. So we were like about 150, 200 foot up, so it would like drop like straight down to get that element so he could come back up. So it was almost like shit, like there's a gamble sometimes, pitch black, lashing rain, side on rain, wind. Like they could land in 60 knot winds.
Yeah.
But they could probably do more, but it's dangerous for people getting out of the helicopter on the heli decks, because it was like, because some of the Norwegian girls that we used to like, I used to have to hold on to them to get them on the helicopter, because they were so little, they would have just blown off the heli deck. But
they must throw them about though. They must like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They don't mess about with them. These are the big helicopters they took. There was Sikorsky S-92s, and they took like 19 passengers in the back plus the 2 crew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, and and with the weather, side on weather, trying to get in, and But I've been on. You get used to it. In the end, you just get in, strap yourself down, hear Kenny Rogers, the gambler, and next thing you know, flash asleep, and then drool hanging down, and then someone's waking you up, and you're in Stavanger. You're like, oh yeah, ready to go and get my £30 burger and £10 pint of beer. Ooh, yeah.
Crikey. So I'm gonna ask you a question. So that was kind of life on the rigs.
Life on the rigs, yeah.
And I've got another question to ask you, but I need to address something first, because people, you'll have noticed that I was moving, and Stu's asked what I was doing, and Malcolm has said, getting a tour of Pinky's house. I'm gonna have to be completely honest with you. Too much water in high G's. You've just witnessed the first GFDI podcast live pitch.
but the thing is though, you should like drill a hole in it and get a garden hose, and just have a little funnel on the top, mate. I'll save you next time, wouldn't it? Just like
We'll do that for next time.
As you can see, I'm in my man cave with just a couple of my things.
I just had to come clean, but it also acts as a quite a nice little segue into my next question, because me going for a pee leads quite nicely onto the pee that you took whilst you were on the rigs that kind of changed your life, right?
Yeah, six years ago. When I was on I like a little background. So when I was on the rig, and like if anyone who's worked on the rigs, they'll know it's all like RAF, Navy, a couple of powers, Marine. Most of us are all ex. And it was, even though it's Norwegian, they all have to do national service, so they were all in the military as well. So it was all that good bit of banter. Yeah. And the rig I was on was a Merce Giant, and we had a basketball court, badminton court, massive gym. Like one of those fake golf ranges that you hit golf, and it just on that like screen. And you think you're anyway. So I was getting up every morning, and I worked 7 till 7, and then I worked like a week of nights. And I used to get up, go downstairs to the gym, do a 10K run, come back, have a shower, have some breakfast, work all day, and then in the evening, this one called Dave Warman and Rob, they were like ex-powers. They used to say, "Stretchy, come on, come down." They used to call me Cliffhanger because I used to like do all the pull-ups and everything.
Yeah.
So I was probably in the best condition of my life. You know, we used to do an hour and a half down there. Then we used to go for a sauna. Then we had like a solarium on the gym, you know, on the rig and everything. So we used to do that every day for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was in the best condition ever. You know, it was, you know, that's why they called me cliffhangers. They said I looked like Stallone, you know, holding on to these things and, you know, like just going, oh. So anyway, obviously we need to get medical. So I went for a medical with a Norwegian guy, microscopic blood in my urine. And he said, oh, no, you know, you're young, you'll be all right, you'll be all right. It's probably like from the running up and down on your kidneys. You know, when you're bouncing on the treadmills, it could like affect your kidneys. You move up and down, blah, blah, blah. So I went home, spoke to my doctor, and he said, well, we'll get it investigated. So, yeah, anyway, so I had few tests, a few unpleasant tests. Long story short, prostate cancer. I had no problems peeing. I had no symptoms at all, no problems with like erections or anything.
Yeah.
So that was it, prostate cancer. So because of my age, they put me through for emergency surgery. I think the things, so I had to go to Bristol. It's a thing called the Da Vinci machine. It's a machine, like a robot that actually operates on you. All I can remember it coming at me, it was like one of those big round things with spiders' legs, and they like obviously inflate your stomach, and then the robot operates on you.
Yeah.
And when they cut me open, the cancer was on the outside, so they give me the Gleason scale of 7. I think 9's terminal. So I was that close to breaking out. And once it hits your bones, I've had like bone scans. Once it hits your bones, it's game over. You know, like it's spreading. Yeah. So I thought I was over it. So I got over it. Prostate cancer, right? Okay. And like I didn't even know what the prostate does, but it's like it's your main primary muscle to hold your urine inside you.
Yeah.
And also it fires the kind of the fluid that goes. It fires this fluid that goes into your testicles to get the old sperm to come to go like 1,000 miles an hour up out the hole, you know, out the eye. So I didn't even know like half of what it did, you know. So I was more worried about wetting myself and having no control. Yeah. So after the operation, I was all catheterized and everything. So when they pulled it out, I think because of my age and because of my fitness at that time, that my stomach and all could hold it. So that I was happy with that.
Right.
So I got to like a month later, and they said, look, there's still loads of like cancer cells left in that area.
Yeah.
So I had to go for like 6.5 weeks of radiotherapy.
This was after this robot had operated.
Yeah, after the robot, 6 weeks after the robot had operated on me.
Yeah.
Because I was young, they wanted to do like some nerve saving to save like the nerves, you know, so you could still know what's going on, you know, like still get erections and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I had to get 6.5 weeks every day of radiotherapy. So basically I had to go in and drink 300 milliliters of water. So I was like almost jumping up and down, wanting to wet myself. And then the girl used to say, are you ready? And I used to run in, drop my pants, like every girl in the bloody hospital seen the old like little baby Willie and everything. Drop my pants, lie down, and let the machine do like one circuit of me.
Yeah.
And so run out, go for a pee, and then that was it every day for 6.5 weeks. And the nearest hospital to do it to me was like an hour away. I used to drive an hour up to do it.
Right. Okay. An hour a day, hour each way for 6 weeks.
To do it. Yeah, 6 weeks. And
how much of a toll did that take on you? That must have been pretty draining, right?
Yeah, it's draining, and it was almost like you got addicted to this this routine, because I would go up, and I think I used to only have Sundays off. Yeah. But by the time, obviously I'd done it a Saturday morning, by the time Sunday came round, I was in agony, or I was getting all the side effects of all this radiation.
Mm.
And so that wasn't always too great.
Yeah.
So after I'd done all these 6.5 weeks, I thought, yeah, I'm all right. right, that's it. Let's get focused. Let's get back into the gym.
Yeah.
So because they surged my hormones so much from like testosterone, and they surged it up, and the pills I was on to suppress the prostate cancer,
Yeah.
I started growing boobs. And I thought, well, that's not too bad, is it? You know, these days you can get away with it a bit, isn't it? You know, boobs and all. But so anyway, so I got the boobs.
Were you kind of thinking,
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? You know, too bad. You know,
have a wee slide squeeze?
yeah, that's not too bad. Then I obviously got lumps in it, and I was like, oh, fucking hell. So it's like breast cancer. So I got, because whatever they'd done, they'd surged me, and I got breast cancer. But anyway, that was all sorted. Got all that sorted out. I thought, yeah, I'm all right. I'm going to be all right. I'll be all right.
Was that more radiation for the breast cancer then?
Yeah, but I like, yeah, no, I'm at the limit of whatever it is. If anything goes wrong with me again, I can't have any more radiation, because they've just given me that, whatever the human equivalent to it is.
Right. Okay.
At that time. So I was all right, felt great. Went up to see my son in London. Come home, bang. I was like pissing blood. So I was like, shit. I went up to the hospital. I was in stage 3 kidney failure. My kidneys were just collapsing. So I got rushed to hospital again.
Yeah.
And I was in hospital for about 3 days, you know, on dialysis and everything. Yeah. But and all these things are a complete add-on, you know, like they started like similar, like all the radiation has started crumbling my spine. I've got so much wrong with me.
Yeah.
And of course, also that affected me mentally as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did have a few years of just.
So from the kind of the big, what was that sort of time span from like from the onset of like finding out you had cancer to the effects on like the breasts and more cancer?
Oh yeah, it was like all this was in 2 years.
And then right up to the kidney failure.
Yeah, then the kidney failure, then 2 years. Like, everything was all done at almost once. And then I've got all the add-ons now with all the just the little problems that I've got to like. They'll never cure me. I just got to live with them day by day.
Yeah.
Jeez. You know, because you know, I'm on this like gabapentin. You know, like, I think it's just to stop the brain telling me that I'm in pain. You know, your nerve ending's got your spine, isn't it? Your spinal cord. This is a kind of, I've got a block. I've got like these tablets that put the blocker on there, so it doesn't tell my head that I'm in pain, just to kind of like numb me out a bit.
Yeah.
And like some days I'm all right. Some days I'm like, as my wife would say, like a little miserable bastard, because I can't get out of bed. So I've got to really like kind of pace myself all the time.
Yeah. Energy levels just got to keep.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, so yeah, that's my journey. That's coming on for 6 years now. I've been on and off, going to the doctors. You know, my last appointment was a neurologist. I had to see a neurologist. I've got to go tomorrow for blood tests. You know, at the doctors. So I've seen the doctor about every month for like 6 weeks. Doctor or specialist, because obviously my kidney specialist. Then it goes on to, I had to see a guy because they might have given me Crohn's disease, or they might have. Then I lost a lot of weight. You know, I've lost a lot of muscle mass. All my muscles gone, but then I've got, you know, like a massive stomach. My stomach's got like a massive hernia in it. Looks like the aliens popping out every time I move. It looks like aliens popping out, but they're not. It's just all one thing after the other all the time.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then it got to that stage almost where I wish they never found it. I wish I never went, because I would have been game over by now. But you know, when it almost got to that stage.
Please don't think that, mate. As selfish as it sounds, I'm probably not the only person that said this to you. I am ever so grateful that didn't happen, and that it was found. As terrible as a thing that might sound, for you to have gone through what you've gone through, but you're still here with us now.
Oh yeah. It's like life.
And I applaud you, as everyone else will. Just some, you know, mate. The question that I have to ask. Well, a couple of questions actually. So you mentioned that not only have you physically been affected throughout that period of time, but it's affected you mentally as well.
Yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean, how bad has it got, and 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 how have you kept yourself? Because look, talking to you tonight, when I spoke to you last night, when I saw you a few years ago, you're you. You are the Stretch that that everybody remembers. Your sense of humor is intact. Your charisma, that your character is exactly as I think everyone would remember.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you've somehow found the resilience and the mental strength to carry on through all of this absolute hell, mate. And I know they say
yeah,
if you're going through hell, keep going.
yeah,
How
yeah.
have you handled that, mate? I mean, how bad has it got, and how have you handled it? You know, how have
Yeah,
you? What's given you the strength to carry
yeah.
on?
I think what a lot of it is as well. When I was going through it, I was going through all those, going through those quotes. I've got a Bear Grylls one I had in my head. I can't remember it for now. But first rule is don't quit, keep going, keep going.
Yeah,
And I think like you've got to do it for the family, and then because I think you just got to keep doing it for your family. And I know a couple of guys that even from the rig, and even like my cousin that all committed suicide. And like
yeah,
you don't take away the pain because the pain is passed on to someone else. Because
yeah,
they're forever asking, well, why did he commit suicide? Why did he do that? Why didn't he come and speak to me? Why did it? Because but they're forever asking that question until the day they die, isn't it? It's just I think like sometimes even though I did feel like it sometimes, I just thought, no, it's too selfish to do for me and my family.
yeah,
I wouldn't want to put that on them that they
yeah.
could always speak to me to do that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
I
an
had quotes. Yeah, I like Winston Churchill's. Well, I had quite a few Winston Churchill quotes. Like going for hell, keep going, blah, all that. And
yeah,
like, it's all little things that just get you kind of motivated.
yeah.
And yeah,
Mate, you're a superstar. Honestly, I just need to uh, show you a few comments from a few people there. And mate, honestly, to keep going, you really are an absolute
and,
inspiration.
and as well, I think you just got to like, I can be a moody bastard sometimes and keep doing it. It's just wife will say I'm
Yeah,
moody. It's just you just got to keep going sometimes.
yeah. Look, some very nice words there, mate. Some
Yeah,
very nice words. But do you know, what I'm saying there about the fact that you're still here.
yeah,
Um, I think everybody is grateful for that, including yourself. I would,
oh, yeah, yeah,
because we first met over 30 years ago, and there are people that we met back in the day and that we have subsequently met throughout that time that are no longer with us as well, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
And there's not one of my ex-forces pals that have come on here and not been touched by somebody that we've known that's gone.
do it. Yeah,
So to have the attitude that you've got, and for us to continue to remember the ones that are no longer with us,
yeah, definitely.
um, and I think you wanted to mention somebody that's no longer with us specifically, didn't you, tonight?
Oh, Tom.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, and Ross as well. Ross.
yeah, Ross Conlon.
Yeah, yeah, Ross Conlon. Yeah, it's the same, isn't it? It's quick. How quick it could go. How quick.
Yeah,
It's a knife edge. Life is a knife edge, isn't it? And
it is.
what I found as well, once I got that kind of headset and I had a lot of material things, rigs, we were going on holidays, doing this, blah blah blah. None of that when it at the end of the day, none of that matters. And
Yeah,
I thought with my kids, I'm going to give them the most experience of time with me if I don't make it. So we just went, we went, I don't know, I like one thing I did, it just like so decadent. I hired a bloody apartment in Hyde Park. I hired like the top floor of the Waldorf, in London,
yeah,
just so we could have like room service. It was like a film star,
yeah,
but obviously I'm not a film star, you know what I mean? But it was just so they could have that kind of experience. And then we went to like Ibiza, and then like as soon as we got home from Ibiza, I said like, let's go Cyprus, let's do this, or let's go and do just to get experience. Because if I didn't make it, they'd think, well, my dad when we was in like Ibiza, he collapsed and lay on the floor drunk, you know. But at least I picked him up, or whatever, you know. It's just.
Yeah.
But that leads me to another story. All right, when I was in London, my son was at the Albert Hall singing because obviously Cornish, we're a minority now. We're a registered minority since 24th of April, 2014.
Yeah.
So every year, I don't know if you know, like back in the day, Trelawney's army marched to London from Cornwall with 30,000 people to have a go at the king. So we didn't get that far. It all got suppressed, bloody English. But so yeah, exactly. So I got this apartment in Hyde Park, and my son was over at the Albert Hall, and he was there with the school singing, and there was going to be like sellout crowd at all Cornish men, we're all doing our songs, singing and thing. So me being a cheapskate, all of a sudden, I said, oh, it's not that far. We'll just walk through Hyde Park and we'll be just there. And the Albert Hall's right there. I know London like the back of my hand, you know, but obviously I didn't know. So anyway, for some reason, me, my wife and my daughter, we got lost in Hyde Park, you know, in London at about 6 o'clock in the evening, which is when you need to be like dodging out of those certain areas. So I looked across and there was this guy and a woman pushing obviously a pram, and the guy was like, I think he had like red like joggers on, a blue puffer jacket with like spots on, and a green hat. So I went, "Excuse me, mate, are you local?" And he says, "Yeah." I like, you know, went, "Yeah," and he like, I could see his wife girlfriend just go, "Oh no," you know. It was this bald-headed guy in a suit and all, but like he said, "No," and he like, "No." So I went, all right, mate, you're local. We're trying to get to bloody Albert Hall. I've gone wrong here. I thought I knew London. And anyway, my wife was just like this. Raw drop, look at that. And I was like, what? I'm trying to get directions here. What? She goes, that's Robbie Williams.
You're standing asking him directions.
And I was like, what? And it must have been when this was probably about 7, probably when they just had their first child. Can't think of his wife now. Ada. Just had their first child.
Ava, is it? Ava, something like that. Ada.
Like that, yeah. But like, I was like, and my daughter was looking at me, and then we looked, and it was like, hell, it is Robbie Williams. It's Robbie Williams. He's obviously been walking out of the park.
Did he give you directions?
Yeah, he gave me directions. Good old boy, yeah, nice bloke. It says, and then my missus went like teenage mode. She went, "Oh, Robbie, I love you, Robbie." I was like, "Shut up," like that, shut up. And my daughter was just like, so I like shook his hand and went, "Cheers, Robbie. See you later, mate. I owe you a beer." And just walked off. And then we got to the Albert Hall, and like, I booked like a private box, you know, with like some drinks and alcohol. I like seen my lad and said, "Oh, you're really good, mate." But then all we kept saying is, it's been overshadowed. Him singing with all these Cornishmen, you know, like that we met Robbie Williams on the way in bloody
brilliant
Hyde Park. Yeah, it was like one of those surreal times. It's weird. Yeah,
brilliant. I love it. I love it. Listen, I've got a few quick questions for you.
Oh, yeah. Let me take a swig of water.
Yeah, take a swig. These are just quick ones. These are just quick ones. So, but I like asking them. So, £100 million. There you go. What are you going to do with it?
£100 million. There's a kids charity down here.
Yeah.
And I'll give it to the kids hospice. And also I'm like I'm in a charity called Force for Charity. And this is where I go with these. I like
get dressed up in the old
I wear them and it goes to a company called True Butterflies.
Yeah.
Which the True Butterflies is for domestic abuse for women and children. And when people are getting abused, you know, horrendous domestic abuse, they usually leave in the middle of the night. So like they pull the kids out or whatever goes in, so they've got nothing. So the whole point of the charity that I'm in, True Butterflies, is we try to like get kind of clothes for them, toys for the kids to play with, because it's like a really traumatic time.
Yeah.
And so like that's what I do with my time now. If I've got the energy or if I'm well, I try to collect for these guys, True Butterflies. There is another one, but I'm not a part of it. It's called True Dragonflies, which is for men that suffered domestic abuse.
Okay.
But I've just gone for the women and the children.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mate,
but
fair play to you. So you would you'd give all that money to charity?
I'd give most of it to charity, yeah. Only I'd only give it to like local charities, because I wouldn't give it to. And I'll probably take like some of the guys away on holiday for something.
Yeah.
Couple of world cruises back to back, just couple of like rally world cruises. Yeah, Butlins, you know, a couple of, buy the whole of Butlins for us all, so we can all go down for a weekend, did it?
Nice.
Yeah, buy Butlins or something. I don't know, something stupid like that.
You might have already answered the next question, or you might not have, because you've already got directions, and you do owe Robbie a pint. But if you could have a pint with any celebrity, alive or dead, who would it be?
It's got to be. No, it's got to be two, really.
Have two.
I'm gonna have to say
you're more entitled to two.
I'm gonna have to say the person that everyone mistakes me for. Well, not mistakes me for. It's like, oh, James Bolan. Oh, are you related to Mark Bolan? You know, obviously the singer back in the day.
Yeah.
So I would love to meet him just to say, oh, you? Yeah, hello, mate. Yeah. and another one I'd love to meet would be someone probably not you think of, but I thought was quite inspiring for the time.
Yeah.
Would be Bob Marley. I'd say Bob Marley would be a good dude to meet.
Yeah.
Just on the beach in Jamaica somewhere, a couple of red stripes and all, be lovely, wouldn't it? Special ones, yeah. Yeah, it'd be lovely though. You know, Bob.
Bob Marley. Yeah. Bob Marley and Mark Bolan. That's a very good choice.
Yeah, just of people. Yeah.
Very good choice. All right, three more. One that you've got to think of. The other two should be dead easy. Favorite movie of all time?
Probably Star Wars geek.
Star Wars.
Star Wars geek. I still like the originals. Yeah. So I'm going to say Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Yes.
And the thing is as well, it's one of those things that when I'm feeling like shit and I can't be bothered to do anything or I haven't got the energy, I just lie in my bed in my man cave, got it on the TV there. I always play Star Wars because I've watched it so many times. I think if I ever fall asleep in it, I know where I am. It's just one of those things. It's almost like chicken noodle soup and CBBS, you know, when we've got that dreaded man flu. That's my kind of, just like sit down and watch the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, probably.
Because even being home, I've watched the whole of Sky. I've watched the whole of Sky TV, Netflix. I've watched, you know, because obviously I haven't worked in 6 years because of all my problems and conditions.
Yeah. So it's actually next question. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it because if you've watched everything, what's the best box set that you've ever watched and which is the worst?
Oh, I still like I still like Big Bang. I could just watch those all the time. Big Bang series.
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory. Sorry, yeah.
And is there anything you've watched that you've been like, well, that's a series of 24 hours of my life I can't get back?
Yeah, I tell you what, I didn't like I liked Game of Thrones, and then like the last series they just cocked it right up, didn't it? They could have done so much more of it. So I think that one, because I was so angry after Game of Thrones when she was really nice all the way through, and then like the last minute she went mental and got a dragon and killed everybody, and I was like, no. And then Jon Snow killed her, and then I was like, oh, come on. You could have made it a lot better than that. They must have thought, let's just get rid of people now. Let's get rid of them. Yeah. That's the only one I can think of, really.
I don't think you're alone with that. I
It's
think
not-
there was a lot of people a bit kind of pissed off about the
Yeah,
last
I'd
series of
stuck with
that.
it for like whatever 7 years. We were watching it, like,
Yeah.
and we were like, yeah.
But it wasn't the guy that wasn't the guy that wrote them all. Was he not dying at the time
Oh,
that
it
they
could be,
brought the last series out?
yeah.
I don't think he'd finished the books, had he?
Ah, right. Okay. Then, so there's just like someone like me just went, yeah, I'll get rid of him. Yeah, let's have enough of that, isn't it? Yeah.
I think that Sky or like whoever the film production team that were making it, I'm sure that they had to adapt the story because they hadn't finished
Do
the
it.
books. I might be wrong. I
Oh,
might be
right.
wrong.
Yeah. That probably makes sense, isn't it? Some guy just went, yeah, get rid of it. Let's get
Yeah,
rid of it. Yeah. Make
just
everyone
do
sound
that.
like complete lunatics. Yeah.
I
Yeah. So
know.
I think that's what disappointed me out of all of the things I've watched.
Yeah. So, here's one for you. What would the story of your life be called?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd have to say, oh, yeah, that's a good one. I try to think of a Cornish saying like stretch, done it directly, or got there in the end, me lover, or something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Got there.
got there in the end, my lover.
Because I was saying to my son the other day, and I said, like, he said about growing up and being responsible. And I said, well, I don't think I ever was responsible. I think I've just like blagged every job I had. Just if you look like you know what you're doing, no one questions you, do they? If you just like, oh yeah, go that way, do that, just do that. I think that's kind of what it is, isn't it? Or yeah,
Yeah.
growing up, we're not really still don't really know what we're doing, but we just pretend we know now from.
I said something very similar to the man that we've got in the green room.
Yes, yeah,
We're all blagging it, aren't we?
yeah,
Even still,
yeah,
and anybody that tells you that they're not, even if you've got a plan, you still, to a degree, kind of
yeah,
blagging it, right?
yeah.
I believe that. I know it's certainly true of me.
Because
Look at me, having to take a flipping pee mid podcast. I mean, what's that if it's not blagging it?
it's
So
the same. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go on.
what's next? Where does stretch got there in the end, my lover?
Yeah.
What now?
Well, yeah, because I'm still unable to work, and I don't qualify for the UK. So I've like used my savings to look after me for the last 6 years.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm just going to have to hopefully be better because I've got I had a neurologist appointment the other week because I kept like falling down or hurting myself, or so I was going to see how that goes. That's another one. See how that goes,
yeah.
and slowly like ride the effects of that radiotherapy. Yeah,
And
'cause-
whilst this is all going on, you're gonna keep doing what you do, right? You're gonna keep
yeah,
meeting
yeah,
up with your pals. You're gonna keep doing stuff with the family, and you're gonna keep going, and you're
yeah,
gonna muster up that energy, working with this charity, getting dressed up as Chewbacca,
yeah. Because
and
like I've got
being
to
good,
get
right?
I've got to get energy to go out with him on Sunday. They're trying to get me to go out Sunday, so I'll see how it goes because. When you're there on the Stilton or Chewie's like the rock star, they all want to
Yeah,
come and see him, all the little kids and all. So yeah, so
yeah.
it is
Yes,
good.
though.
Yeah,
He is. I remember at Universal Studios when we were over, and
yeah,
of all the people, like at Disney and Universal, of all of the people, when I had my picture taken with Chewie, I was like a big baby.
do it.
I
Yeah,
was like a big kid. Oh, Chewie and Spider-Man.
oh yeah, because I've got the stormtroopers. I've got a full size stormtrooper suit and a TIE pilot suit as well, and I've
Yeah.
worn them, but no one beats the Chewie. No one beats the Chewie.
Nobody
Yeah,
beats
because
the Wookiee.
everyone's seen like the stormtrooper or the TIE pilot before, or the TIE pilot. As soon as you're the TIE pilot, they think, "Are you Darth Vader?" And like, no, I'm a TIE pilot. But once you get Chewie out, everyone knows Chewie.
They do indeed.
Yeah.
Well, listen, what a fantastic way to end on Star Wars,
Yes.
on Chewbacca, Stretch Bolan, Rockstar. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on tonight. It's been brilliant. We've just smashed an hour and a half.
Oh yes, I'll just have a look at the time then. Yeah, go.
So before we say goodbye, in fact, over to you for just some final words for anybody that, anything that you want to say before we go.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for listening. I'm all right. Yeah, I'm still getting by day. But everyone's happy and like they're good, all in good health. And any slight problems, get yourself to the doctors, get yourself checked. Because I had no symptoms whatsoever, no symptoms. I felt great. Get yourself to the doctors, get checked. You're not wasting their time. No matter what they say to you, get yourself down. Any problems, just go and see them. They are understanding. They've had me every month for the last 6 years, different doctors. I think I've almost broke a couple of doctors, or they're almost retired, but they've had me.
Yeah.
And you've got to ask them questions. Yeah. Because it's your life. That's it. You've got to do it. It's your life. They're not interested. They want it next, whatever. But you've got to go in and you've got to be strong. Go in with a list of questions and say, I got this, bang, bang, bang. I've looked on the NHS website, bang, bang, bang. I've got this. Can you send me to a specialist or whatever? But don't forget about it. Don't forget about it. Don't think, I'm all right, because I could have easily thought, I'm doing that 10K running every day. It's probably just probably that. And then I would have never known I had cancer, and then boom, that was it.
Yeah,
it was just because I had no symptoms at all. For us men, and women are the same. Women are the same. But we need to talk about it. We don't, as men, as we have this macho ego, but we need to talk about it. We need to get out and go, we need to get tested, or we need to go and do these things. I mean, I was 44, and they were like, oh my God, mate, you should be like 64, 74. But it just shows how it can sneak up on you.
Yeah, life has a tendency to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Mate, thank you for that. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
I'm not going to put them all up. You can read all of the comments in there. Malcolm said, "Cheers, great to hear your journey." Karen said, "Brilliant chat. You're amazing, Pob."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jamie O'Donnell said, "Well done, mate. Great advice for anyone."
Yeah.
And we'll give the final words to Mr. McCann. He said, "Great show, brother. You smashed it."
Yeah. He owes me a couple of pints at Butlins. Or no, where are we going next? Tenerife. In Tenerife, I'll take him.
There you go. Right. Thank you all very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week. Don't go anywhere, Mr. Bolan. We'll have a little catch up in the green room with our guest backstage, and we'll speak to everybody else same time next Thursday. Good night.
Good night.